Is there such thing as Halloween jewelry? Oh yeah. Hey, I'm Margo, an artist jeweler from Amsterdam. Over the last 10 years, I've done about 500 different jewelry designs, mostly quirky items, curious, beads, charms, sculptural ones. And a large part of them actually are Halloween themed. Generally speaking, where I come from, Halloween is not a thing. I was born in Soviet Union. I'm half Ukrainian, half Russian. So in post-Soviet times, in Russia, Halloween was not celebrated. People were aware of it, but lucky for me, in the gymnasium where I studied, where I spent my high school years, it was allowed and encouraged to do something for Halloween. The whole place was quite westernized. So yeah, students did some things. Mostly it was about heavy makeup and wearing black. But some of them were quite creative, and it gave me an idea that Halloween can be really fun and very good for expressing unusual things about yourself. But I wasn't thinking about it for years and years. When I started making jewelry, it was something more about peace of mind, being calm under stress. I haven't started actually going into those darker themes. But then I had a friend who was a fashion designer, clothing designer for men, and together we discovered that we really loved talking about mythology. And he was making a collection of men's costumes and playing with an idea of psychopoms. Those are in every culture and every religion. There is this particular character responsible for guiding the soul in the afterlife, well, towards the afterlife, the guide of the soul, psychopomp. So we were just playing with an idea. How would those characters in each culture look like today? What profession, what job would they be having? What they would look like in terms of clothing, that was his part, the suits, the costumes, and my part, what jewelry would they wear? And that creative collaboration actually gave life to my first darker jewelry items. So, a thing I'd like to show from that collection is this silver pendant. It is a horse skull silver pendant, quite heavy. It was my first foray into the darker themes. I know some bead collectors would really like to find one of those, but I haven't made too many of them, so that's not easy. Another old thing is this Dracula bead. I made a bracelet with two Draculas and a bat as a charm, and called it Double Dracula. Then much later I made it again because I really wanted to pair it with the Martisha piece. I know that they're not a couple, but I just liked making them in the same format. Another fairly old piece is the Scary Sun Moon. The regular, happy-looking sun moon was one of my first sculptures ever. I did that sculpture even before I had the first thought about going into jewelry. It was just a concept, just a thought. And then, much later, I made this piece that feels quite Halloween-like for me. Another piece that is not a classic Halloween, but I consider it one, the Flying Dutchman. It's a horror theme. Made a good pendant and a nice bead. Another thing from old times, I think I'm mostly showing the old beads today, and it's not all Halloween that I have. The other bead is the Cooking Witch. I feel like she was one of my first really popular beads that made me known in the bead collector world. At least I can say that it is one of my experiments with the shapes, because she doesn't have a usual form for the bead. But she does have my nose, that for sure. It's with a book, of course, cooking something. Halloween would be impossible without garlic. This one is a small one. But I also made another one quite large and heavy. And here the hole is horizontal, and that one is vertical. So people could wear it as a pendant on a necklace. And why Halloween? Well, against emotional vampires. Cthulhu. Now this is a true Halloween character. I did not manage to make him particularly scary, I admit. But I did try to make him in a bead shape, so he's rounded and cute. He's cute. Yeah, sometimes I make my Halloween pieces cute. Little Cerberus. Also called Fluffy. Some of my pieces have a deep and profound meaning. And some are like this. Another funny Halloween piece. It seems like I always try to do things with a twist. It's never just the heart, just the romance, just the Halloween. There should be something. So another one is the boo. It is a ghost, but not really. It's actually a little boy in Dutch clogs, as you can see, pretending to be a ghost, trying to scare somebody. I have a mini-series going on, which is called Kids in Costumes, and that one was the first of them, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do leave me a comment if there was something before that. Two pieces that are linked together by meaning are the Unforgotten and Mausoleum. Is this statue of an angel on a cemetery covered with vines and ivy. The weeping angel, if you want. Yes, Doctor Who reference. Mausoleum is the same. There's also a statue covered with the vines. So I think they're the same. Another meaningful composition of pieces is the Haunted Mansion and Frankie, which isn't short for Frankenstein, it's short for Frankenstein's monster. But also the spiked globe. Have a look. So this is the Haunted Mansion. Yeah, it's a large pendant and a bead that opens like this. And you see all the lovely creatures that are inside. Yeah. And there are also ravens. And there are also bats. And there are also tentacles coming out of the windows. Cute. So there's this charming house, but I would also put the spiked globe together with it, and then I would add a Frankenstein. Oh, sorry, Frankie. And then it would make a meaningful composition of me. Totally looks like a mad scientist lab, right? That's another mini-series of sorts. Small silver figurines, mostly for Halloween. And speaking of which, in those series there's also a mummy, and a wolfman, and a zombie. Zombie is my favorite, because they are great in multiples. Look at the tiny brain. Just the things you could do with multiple zombies. There is this dragon eye. That was a tricky piece. That is not an old one, it's from the previous year. There is a piece of amber cabochon inside this silver piece. And it was quite tricky to make, actually, you know, to make the silver fit around it nicely so there are no gaps. Make it sit there, some stone setting exercise, and then closing the whole thing. But I really loved the result. And it was a challenge to pick not the perfect pieces of amber, the most beautiful ones, but the most interesting ones with actual defects that would make it look like a dragon eye. And the last piece that I would like to show today among my Halloween beads would be a fairly recent one, a thorn heart. As I mentioned, my Halloween pieces, my romantic pieces, they're never just that. Everything is with a twist. Though this is a heart piece, and those are classic symbols. There's the rose and there's the nightingale. But if you have a closer look, not everything goes well for the nightingale, you see? There is a thorn. And also, there is a snake hiding on the other side of the heart. Of course, those symbols can be interpreted in many different ways. So it is, as always, entirely up to you. How would you read this? Is it a dangerous piece? Is it a romantic piece? Is it a tragic love kind of piece? Is it purely Halloween and the bird is dead? Also possible. So these are the beads I wanted to share with you today in my Halloween overview. I am sure I left out some of them, and if you feel like I didn't show your favorite bead, do leave me a comment and I'll include it into the next one. Because my bead box is very large, I've made and accumulated quite a lot of them over the last 10 years, and I will be gladly telling you more about them. Thank you for watching. See you later.